What's going on, Gemini? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a phenomenal month so far, especially getting so close to your birthday season. But for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really is just incredible, Gemini, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy Higher Self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. You want to know why, Gemini? Because it is Celestial News Monthly. So let me tell you about this, Gemini. Just a little sidebar. When I first started this channel, I had this segment at the end of the videos that was Celestial News Weekly, and that didn't quite flow like I wanted it to, so I had to scrap it. But now that these planetary spreads have been working out, I was just like, oh my gosh, I could just change it from Celestial News Weekly to monthly. So I was like, bam, inspiration. I'm in a great place right now. But with this monthly spread, whenever the sun moves to a new sign, we're going to talk about where all the planets and luminaries are at, and then how we can work with those energies. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just great energy all around here, Gemini. So Gemini, I have some oracle cards laid out here. We're going to, with each of the zodiac signs that the planets are in, and we're going to get an oracle card from this deck for each of them, and then we'll get some tarot to get some details on the mix. But before we jump into this thing, these readings that I do, they're not gender-specific readings, so apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations, okay? And then in case y'all were curious, the decks that I'm working with, I've included links for them down in the description box below, so definitely check that out if you're interested there, Gemini. But before we jump into this energy here, let's talk about the planets that are in your sign, because you're throwing more of a smaller party than Aries and Taurus was. They had these big old birthday bashes, and you're just like, y'all are doing a lot. we're inviting just the homies over for this bash, because you have the sun entering your sign, and then Mercury's going to be entering your sign in after that first week of June. But the sun is going to be entering on the 21st of May and will be there through the 21st of June. And with the sun entering your sign, this really inspires our curiosity and really opens our mind up to new perspectives, Gemini, because you're such an intelligent sign. You really can absorb information like a sponge. You're a sign of communication, and I mean, when you really think about it, on a divine sense, you're you communicate, the divine messages. So, I mean, that's fantastic, Gemini. But this really does help us to see from a higher perspective, to figure out what ways do we want to grow and be curious about the world and all the opportunities that are available to us. But also, Gemini, because you're so witty, so clever, so funny, this is a great energy to just be in some great laughs and just enjoy just the lightheartedness of your energy, because yours is a youthful energy too, because Gemini is and Mercury more so too deals with like early child care, and like child care learning. So wonderful time for you to just really just express yourself, and even doing some inner child healing work, Gemini, if that's something on the agenda there. But something to think about as well, considering depending on where you have Gemini placements, if you want to find that out, I have some apps in the description box that I like using, but you'll just need your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth. And depending on where you have Gemini placements, you're going to be the sun and Mercury are going to be forming conjunctions with those placements. And conjunctions fall within a 0 to 3 degrees of a sign. And this is just like it's amplifying the energy. The energies are blending together and they're forming something new. This might inspire you to take action. Maybe change. Maybe ignite a perspective of yourself that you hadn't considered. Something for you, another aspect of you to be curious about. See where that energy is flowing flowing, you know, and see what dominant energies that you've been working with up until now. Conjunctions, they can be they're a little tricky, you know, like the blending of stuff, you know, but considering that Gemini is masculine energy and the sun being masculine energy because you're an air sign, and then Mercury is interesting because he rules you, a masculine sign, and Virgo, a feminine sign. Mercury takes on the energy of whatever sign that they're in. So I feel like this is going to be a generally a good blend for you here, Gemini. But let's see how we can work with this. Wow, work with this energy, Gemini, because you got the first card of Aries. Look at you shining like a diamond. That's what I'm talking. That's how you come into your birthday season, Gemini. Bring it. Because with this diamond card, this is a card of creative force, faithfulness, value, perfection, brilliance, commitment, light, purity, esteem, unconquerable force, multidimensional, multifaceted, invincible, spiritual power. Did I not say you were the divine communicators, Gemini? Look at you. And this is something too to be thinking about, all the facets of yourself. Are there certain areas that you want to improve in? You know, because your mind is going to be, oh, wow, Gemini, we totally forgot about your ruler. Hold on, Diamond, because let's talk about Mercury in Gemini. Wow, Mercury is going to be entering Gemini on the 11th of June and will be there through the 26th. I got so excited. Through the 26th of June. And with your ruler being in your sign, you are hopefully going to be feeling like a diamond, Gemini, because this is going to hopefully provide a more clear-headed objective and just more mental flexibility within you. You know, the information is just going to be flowing smooth. But because Mercury is such an active sign, yours is such an active sign, you want to be mindful of overstimulation. You know, especially I feel like if you're in a sort of like course of study right now, or just if you go to learn about yourself, anything along those lines, just be mindful. Make sure that we're taking breaks, you know, brain breaks. And also too, your sign, like you and Virgo in particular being Mercury ruled, because Mercury can be so overactive, I always say that, like, I feel like your sign would benefit from, you know, doing some journaling, just because, you know, those thoughts can just accumulate, and it's nice to just sort of like dump all that stuff out and just see what has been going on in the mind. Are there any sort of like common themes that we're noticing, anything that we can work on, any sort of places that we can add, refine, and really create a diamond here, Gemini? But also, you might be feeling a little distracted, you know, just because everything is keeping down. So another incentive to keep a notebook by you there, Gemini. But okay, let's get back to how brilliant you are, because you are Gemini. And then think about how you want to refine that brilliance. You know, do you want to learn another language? Do you want to go experience some things, maybe travel, maybe... This is a great time to be an inspiration, Gemini. Show that creative force. You know, yours is when you think about childlike energy as well. Leo's very childlike energy too. When you think about those energies, their kids are just super creative. So don't sleep on that, Gemini. If you got some things, whether this be in art and music, maybe even like, you know, it can even be in like technology. Maybe you do like graphic design. Maybe you're building apps, you know, whatever this is, work with this energy, because you're an unconquerable force right now. And I mean, and just always, but we're in an age right now where we're in the time of the air signs, you know, with Pluto being in Aquarius, Uranus. 2025 is going to be a big one, especially with Uranus going to be entering your sign, and, you know, Pluto setting the stage for Aquarius. The air signs are going to be, this is a time to really think about how you want to bring value to the world, and, you know, how you want to raise the vibration, bring purity, show your spiritual power, and that I love this, Gemini. And even this could be too, Gemini, you can really be an inspiration with this energy, just thinking about how the Aries energy, because you are the communicators, you can even get to a place where you're, I don't know, Gemini, like lifting others up. If you're noticing that, like, that the community is down, whether this be through blogs, whether this be, I don't, maybe doing some community work, but be thinking about that, how you want to bring, that's a nice thing too. I'm going to be doing your solar return, and that's when the sun is conjunct your natal sun, but I'm going to be doing your solar return video here soon. And that's what this energy is about, thinking about what ways that we can shine like a diamond, you know. But let's get let's get some tarot on this and get some details. Okay. Let's see what we got here, Gemini. Ha! Ooh, Gemini, strong. I'm with it. You got the Magician upright here, and then we have the Hierophant in reverse, and then the Ace of Swords in reverse. And that's fine, Gemini, because I feel like that's what we're going to be working on for this year. You know, making that, if we've been in a place, or if we come to a place where we're not certain about where we want to go next, you know, what we can, what you know, what do we want from this journey? The Hierophant, I feel like, really asks us to connect with our inner selves, you know, with your higher self, and because he's the bridge between this material world and the divine world. And remember, I was talking about that Gemini. When you make that connection with your inner self and find out what is really driving you, what inspires you, and realize that you have all the resources that you need to shine as bright as you want to, the clarity comes through, because all the answers are within, Gemini. And your ruler, Mercury, because this is Mercury here, the Magician, is here to remind you that you are, I mean, and how, come on, Gemini, how freaking strong is that? Your ruler coming out the back supporting you for the start of this spread here. So this can be a time if we really work with these energies, Gemini, really work on, you know, developing that connection, refining your skills, you know, really and trusting your intuition, Gemini, then wonderful things can happen. But I also feel with this, you know, the Hierophant can also be like a card of getting, because one way to maybe even get in touch if we're having troubles figuring out, or, you know, maybe we've been struggling with like epiphanies and things, is maybe getting out in nature, you know, going out for maybe by a river, or even a little bit broader, because Taurus, the Hierophant Taurus is ruled by Venus. And when you think about Venus, she's all about like doing art and creative things, and getting out in nature as well. But I find when we do sort of like things that please our senses, as far as like our hobbies, or, you know, just things that raise our vibrations, that's where the inspiration comes from, Gemini. That's where this, like, everything just really starts making sense, and then we can really start cooking up some stuff here. So yeah, there's really just a strong sense, just if you get to a point that you maybe feel like maybe kind of like on a spiritual sort of like not quite certain where everything's at. And actually, you know, we're gonna switch this energy up here, Gemini, because that's actually gonna kind of tie in with what Saturn's kind of doing with your sign. But yeah, this is a great time to really ask yourself these inner questions and feel like how we can make a stronger connection with ourselves and be present, you know, really, you know, because Taurus deals with the five senses as well. And what better way to be aware of those senses than to be in the present moment and to realize that these experiences that you may go through, they may apply some pressure, sure, but look at this diamond that they're forming there. Look what your ruler, that's what your ruler wants you there to just be shining bright. Look at that, your fairy godmother. What do you wish for there, Gemini? I love it. More. Let's see what else we got. Oh. All right, Gemini, I like that. You got the Four of Coins in reverse. And with this, I feel like for some of you, if you've been feeling in a place where, if we do get to a place where we feel like restricted, or that we feel that there's something that's hindering our potential, then what can we do to adjust that, you know, so that we are realizing, you know, getting to our highest vibration, you know, especially if you feel like that you've kind of plateaued, or that maybe there's some sort of like, maybe we're feeling stuck in our job or stuck in a relationship or something along those lines. And I feel like if this is like a relationship, I do feel like that's something, you know, have a discussion with these things, you know, maybe there's something just like, it might be a miscommunication or anything, but You know, if this is like a job situation or something along those lines, or maybe even like a living situation, Gemini, you know, Mercury deals with travel. If we're feeling restricted in any way, how can we alleviate that? How we can kind of expand on this journey here. But I'm also kind of getting with this Gemini just because, you know, the higher Taurus, you know, they can deal with like the material matters, you know, whether that be finances, material resources, whatever. I do feel like that let's be mindful of being, and listen, there's nothing wrong with getting like money or anything. That's not even what I'm saying. But when we think about what inspires us and what we want to use our creative energies for, paying attention to what the intentions are. If we're doing something for money, you know, like, again, that's fine. You know, I get that, but we want to do things that fulfill us, because when we do those things, all the resources that you need will come together, you know, like it all really kind of falls into place. So that's just another thing to think about. But one other thing, just double checking to make sure that you're feeling secure, you know, just like and I don't mean just this is not me getting you to worry or anything. This is more so thinking about how, and actually, sidebar, I put these things in order, and then other than maybe like Leo and Scorpio, I've been shuffling these things around. But this is a time to be thinking about your long-term security here. Jupiter just moved into Taurus not too long ago. Thinking about these investments, what our intentions, you know, just making sure that we're feeling secure, whether it be physically or, you know, material, mental, or spiritual. All right, Gemini. I like that. Strong start. Lot to think about, but that's what the whole point of your season is. I'm with it. And have fun, Gemini, with it. Even though this stuff can feel a little stressful at times, it's getting us to grow in the long run, you know, carving out little pockets to kind of alleviate the stress there. But let's talk about Pisces energy, because this is where things might get a little tricky here for you, Gemini, because again, depending on where your Gemini placements are at, how Neptune is going to affect you will be different if you're on towards like the latter half of your Gemini energy, depending on where that placement is. But Saturn, you know, is still pretty fresh in Gemini. Maybe the earlier signs, you know, energies. My Gemini's on my Gemini moon is on the 0 degree, so I think I got mine out the way. But this might be an interesting time, because whenever planets are in either Pisces, or it would be either for you Pisces or Virgo, that's when these planets start forming squares with your natal chart, you know, your Gemini natal placements. And squares are kind of trickier energies. They can they form a 90 degree with your signs, or with those natal planets. And they can bring up energies of internal conflict, restrictions, challenges, can be inharmonious energies, some delays, things like that. But there's going to be, if we can just work with the situation, just kind of roll with the punches, you know, get resourceful, get creative, be adaptable, then squares, they reward you, just like Saturn will reward you. But let's talk about Saturn, because this is going to be a really kind of, and even thinking with the Hierophant, this is very spiritual energy, and this is going to be a time, Gemini, to really tap into your spirituality and trust your intuition, because Saturn is going to be going retrograde in Pisces on the 17th of June, and will be there through the 4th of November. And retrogrades are just a time of reflection in general, but more specifically when Saturn, you know, he's a taskmaster, planet of restrictions, karma, time. He's a bit of a hard ass, but he means well. But when he goes retrograde, he's kind of doing like a cosmic interrogation. He's just like, all right, Gemini, what you been manifesting? What you doing? Have we been listening to Kai yourself? What's up? You know, he's a little aggressive, but he just wants you to shine bright like a diamond. You know, because he sees the potential in you. But do you see the potential in you? Are you working with these energies? Are you manifesting brilliance? Are you really making that connection? Working with those ideas that are cooking up in your head there, Gemini? And And more specifically, you know, with Saturn retrograding in Pisces, this is a great time to ask yourself those questions. Do that soul searching, do that shadow work, and expect delays, expect setbacks and things. There's going to be a slow kind of growth here, but it's going to be a steady growth. You know, we're in a time of really kind of learning as much as we can and investing in ourselves. You know, slow and steady's kind of winning the race on this one. You can still get some things started up, of course, but we're thinking long-term investments. You know, this year is like really going to be a very introspective time for us, Gemini. So something to think about with with Saturn and forming those square aspects. That might be where this next, and Saturn's going to be in Pisces for the next 3 years. So it's going to kind of settle in, and that's not to say it's just going to be all just tension and things, but it's just when we see the signs, how can we work with the energies? And then Neptune being in Pisces. Neptune stays in a sign for about 14-ish years, and Neptune is one of Pisces' rulers. She's at home right now, and she'll be at home till 2025 of the 30th of March. And with Neptune being in Pisces, this is very compassionate energy, Gemini. You know, they're very loving and all about the it's I really just unlimited compassion that they have there. But this is great for sharing those creative ideas that you may have, Gemini. That's why, like, if you find yourself during the season having ideas, but they may not resonate with you, I'd even just write them down anyway, because who knows what kind of conversations you may have with someone. They might be having like a bit of a brain fog, and then you light up an idea in them. Look at you inspiring others. And then who knows how that may happen. Maybe a collaboration is formed, but that's what Neptune energy is about. I feel like really about building a soul tribe, strengthening the connection, being around like people who want to achieve the same thing, you know, raise that vibration through the roof there, Gemini. And also, you know, while we're talking about that forming a group, you know, these next couple of years are going to be interesting. You know, I feel like that with all these changes that are happening, it's going to be a big kind of shift here, Gemini, over these next, especially with Pluto being in Aquarius, and then 2025 is going to be an interesting one. But Neptune's going to be moving into Aries around that time, and where I do feel this can be a rise for just like, you know, a lot of healing, you know, leaders and things. You know, Aries can deal with like leadership and stuff, but there may be something on like a bit of extremes that may be coming up during this time. So I feel like the stronger bonds that we can form right now, that can kind of help us embrace the wave that may come through with this energy, so we can tackle this as a soul tribe, as opposed to just like doing this, just that feeling like we have to do it as an individual. But one more thing, and then we're going to get an oracle. Gemini, you Gemini, with Neptune being in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is very dreamy energy, and sometimes that stuff can stay stuck in our head because it can seem so grand. It's like, how do we even manifest that? So we want to be mindful of that as well. That's something that Saturn's trying to bring down to earth here too, is that all those ideas, if you have stuff that you've been cooking up, inspirations, absolutely pull that stuff down there, Gemini. We got to bring from the dome to the home. But let's get an oracle on this. Alrighty, Gemini. Ha! I'm exactly what the squares are. You got the fourth card of Capricorns here. I love that, which is the roadblock card. Thank you, Hunter Self. This is a card of block, change, barriers, challenges, time to regroup, stuck, paralyzed, obstacles, stalling, temporary setback, take a detour, not right now, 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And literally, Gemini, that's a square in a nutshell. It's these roadblocks, you know, they're the challenges, you know, the adversities that we turn into our advantage, you know, because when we do get ourselves in a roadblock, you know, it's just a time to pause and to analyze what's going down. How am I feeling about this thing? What resources do I have at my disposal? Are there something that I need to learn about this? Do I need to hit up a person on this thing? You know, but I find that if we try to force these things and don't really, you know, if we don't take the time to reflect and, you know, if we get exacerbated, then that's how we can end up one step forward and two steps back. So just remembering that when you do find yourself in a block, change, because they're going to happen, Gemini. These hurdles just, you know, universe just like dropping hurdles just all over the place. Make sure we're staying in shape. But when you come across these things, just realize that, all right, just another tool I'm about to add to my tool belt here. We're really about to strengthen, we're about to level up, you know, something else to cash into our energetic savings there. So, and that's something to be mindful of too, Gemini, just like, you know, how you go about a situation. If you find yourself really stuck and can't seem to find a solution, sometimes stepping away, you know, maybe going to do some dishes, you know, maybe going for a walk, going for a jog, you know, or anything that can help you get zen, maybe go take a bath, you know, whatever that is. I got a buddy, he gets inspired he does his best work in the bathtub. He'll take a notebook with him. It's really kind of great. But that's how you work with your energies. You know, it's brilliant because that's where the diamonds are made, you know? So be thinking about that. Remember that these situations are not meant to keep you stuck, paralyzed, or anything. They're meant to spark new ideas, you know, because that's the whole part of the journey. You know, that gets the creative juices flowing. But let's get some tarot on this. Oh, okay. I dig it. You got the Four of Swords here, and then we got the Page of Coins. And with the Four of Swords this is a card of, you know, taking a moment and pause, especially if we find ourselves kind of frustrated or getting anxious or getting in like a panic state. We want to take our time and rest for a second and calm that beast for a second. You know, we don't want to get into a spiral, Gemini. We want to take a moment and figure out, Page of Coins, how can we turn this situation into an opportunity? You know, can we hit up someone? You know, do we do some research? You know, what does that look like? And then start taking those steps towards that. But again, just seeing that for, you know, even just like you see how they have all these mountains back here, or she wants to maybe go up these mountains back here. She got her hit up some moose, and that they're going to go on this great adventure, and everyone's going to I'm not sure if that's actually how this story goes, Gemini, but we're going to roll with it because that's how this journey can be. You know, sometimes it's, you know, we got to be adaptable, but lucky for you, you're an adaptable sign. You're a communicative sign. You're a friendly sign. People would love to help you, Gemini. So try not to get into this place, you know, try not to get into your head, you know, where we can get into, you know, where that hamster starts get to roll, or let me upgrade you, where your wolf it gets the spiraling there. And, you know, also try not to get into a place where you restrict your mind. You see how this wolf is all tied up here? We don't want to restrict our abilities to feel like that we can't get over this thing that you know, because your thoughts are powerful. If you tell yourself, especially being an air sign, Gemini, especially being a communicator of the zodiac, your thoughts are powerful. Your words, they can defend, but they can also harm you. You know, it's just you got to be mindful. You know, when we come up to these cards, you know, to these cards, when we come up to these roadblocks, it's on guard. We're not pointing. Try not to point the sword at yourself. See what else we got here, Gemini? Dang, look at you. All right, the aces are cooking. You got the Nine of Coins here, and then we have the Ace of Wands. And you know what? Gemini, you know, these obstacles here, that's what they're trying to manifest. They're trying to help you to refine a skill, to learn something new, to broaden your intelligence. And when As you're learning this stuff, your energy levels are going to increase. Your creativity, how you get out of stuff is going to change. It really does. I mean, think about it. If we didn't have any sort of challenges, it'd be just sort of life would be, meh. There'd be no kind of push, no kind of drive, no kind of Aries energy or Capricorn energy, anything along those lines. And just even thinking with Capricorn, this stuff when we're working on self-improvements and things and working on that growth and embodying whatever abundance looks like for us, it's going to take some work, but we just make it a routine. This card is Venus and Virgo, and especially when it comes to things that we're passionate about and all of that, when we focus on that and make that our routine, the roadblocks start getting out of our way. In Gemini, I do feel that something to think about too. If we do find a roadblock, a good way to get out of that is doing some creative work. Whether that maybe do some coloring, or play some music, listen to some music, something along those lines. Maybe go build yourself a fire, but just try not to stay stuck in that energy too long, because that can get you frustrated. It can kind of get you caught up in your head here. So, all right, Gemini. Now let's talk about Taurus. Because with Taurus, we have Jupiter that just entered Taurus. Actually, when I'm recording this today, on the 16th of May, and will be there through the end of May, towards the end of May next year, 2024. And then we have Uranus in Taurus, who's been in Taurus since about 2018. So been chilling there for a while. And I mean, let's talk about that, because Uranus has really kind of changed the game. We talk about putting up roadblocks and things. With 2020, with how the work situations have come up. A lot more people working from home. Tech was doing like a big boom. Everything was, the industries were just changing all over the place, and that's because Uranus is moving. Uranus is a higher octave of Mercury, and Uranus is moving these pieces around to make space for us to manifest new things, to bring new innovative ideas and futuristic, really to embrace the change. Uranus doesn't just go around just causing chaos and causing banks to collapse and things just cause. It's that these foundations are no longer serving us a purpose. The energies are really shifting here, Gemini. It's really potent. And so really trusting your intuition, not getting in a panic, not getting caught in our head, and thinking about how this is a great time for self-care and just really focusing on refining your skills and what opportunities we can take with all this energy that's being presented with us right now. Because it's not just a bunch of things that are collapsing. It's that now you got a whole bunch of fertile ground here, Gemini. Let's go plant a garden. What does that look like? And then that's what Jupiter wants too. These two, you see how the energies are working together here? Jupiter is thinking about long-term investment as well, because Jupiter normally is just like a super abundant planet. But with being in Taurus, the Taurus is considered the slowest sign of the zodiacs, just because they're more rooted in the earth. They enjoy the energies, enjoy the growth and the appreciate all the experiences. But this is about building long-term growth, building a long-term abundance, whether that be financially, materially, spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever that looks like. It's about thinking those long-term investments. It's not to say that you can't get some quick stuff started or that quick benefits won't have a benefit, but the energies are not quite are shifting towards that. We're really thinking about 10 of Pentacles, thinking about that legacy that you're leaving behind. What does that look like? And be mindful of where you're channeling your energies, Gemini, because where Jupiter can be an abundant planet, Jupiter doesn't discriminate in what your abundance looks like. If we're attracting low vibrations, things that are keeping us down, keeping us restricted in things, then that's the abundance that we're going to get. And that may sound a little crappy, but the nice thing is, on the flip side, if we're raising that vibration, focusing on ourselves, then man, the growth is going to be wonderful. But let's get an oracle on this. Beautiful, Gemini. That's how you work with the energies. And you know, you're starting to rack up some fours. So you got the 2 4s here, you got the 2 4s here. 4s are a number of stability. That's you know, Emperor energy. How do we get stable here, Gemini? But you got the 4th card of Pisces, which is the, what is this, scuba diver card. And with the scuba diver, this is a card of going within, observation, 0 point, self-examination, exploring the unconscious mind into the void, desire to know, self-reflection, disconnecting, deep thoughts, and subliminal. In Gemini, that's where, you know, how I was talking about, I don't know if I had mentioned about, talk about your solar return video that I'm getting ready to put out. That's what this energy is about. Thinking a time of reflection. And even despite it being your birthday season, just even, because that's what this is about, what about Capricorn, what Pluto's asking you. Even if it wasn't your birthday, Pluto's setting the stage for this. You know, we are in a time, and with where your ruler's going to be retrograding and all of the earth signs, this is really asking how we're contributing to this realm here, because the earth elements deal with this physical realm, and, you know, part of that. And so this is really going within, observing, how am I contributing to this world? How am I contributing to myself? What ways am I growing? What are some things that I don't like anymore? Really getting with those deep thoughts, doing a real, you know, solid connection with yourself, Gemini. Get to know, get curious about who you are, what you want in life, what you want to manifest, and what you want to disconnect from, what's no longer serving you, you know? Journey into that unconscious mind, you know, explore that. Yours is a sign of duality, Gemini. And, you know, it's, you know, it can be hard sometimes with the twins. You know, there can be getting them all on the same, or getting both of them on the same page, because it's like, it can feel that both of them are almost like 2 different identities with 2 totally different thoughts, you know. But it's like, how do we form that connection? How do we get it so then we're manifesting at our finest? You know what I mean, Gemini? What beautiful energy this is. But let's get some tarot on this. Absolutely. Is that an Empress that I see? I love it. Oh, Gemini, because this is sick. Well, it's sick because this is exactly what we're looking for. You got the Sun in reverse, the Empress in reverse, the 6 of Cups, and okay, hold on. So we got King of Wands, the Sun, the Empress in reverse, and then we have the 6 of Cups upright. And I like this, Gemini, because this is what we're finding right now. The 6 of Cups, this is the Sun in Scorpio. And I really feel like that this can be a card, it can be tied with the past, but I feel like this is more so dealing with this reflection here, because when you think of Scorpio energy, theirs is a type, if there's, you talk about doing a scuba diving thing, like, you know, Pisces, water signs in general, or, you know, we're just living in the ocean, my sun signs in Cancer. But Scorpio, this being the Sun in Scorpio, they go to the depths, they go to the bottom, the most unexplored parts of their emotions in themselves, and find what areas could use some sunlight, what areas could use some nurturing, some healing. How can we be feeling abundant? What ways can we get secure? And then when we get eyes on that, what kind of game plan can we get? You know, how do we take these realizations that we've learned from ourselves and refine that into, you know, your number one, Gemini, to that diamond. You know, this is, look at you. You came in strong, and now we're just getting stronger. And this is something where, take this at your own pace, Gemini. This is, you know, don't try to force this thing, because doing these type of explorations can be a lot. And don't feel like that you're behind or anything. You know, never compare yourself to others. You know, everyone's journey is going to be different. How everyone gets to the Sun is different. And, you know, I will say, with the Sun being in reverse, you could take this as something like, you know, feeling, you know, depressed or feeling sad, or that, you know, we can't find that. But when the Sun for me is in reverse, especially because you were the sign, as like for my early videos, that inspired a pocket of sunshine, you know. And when the Sun is in reverse for me, this gives you a chance to find another, how can we reach in that pocket and find another little thing of sunshine, more sunshine to collect here, more chances for you to be coming to your radiant self. There's that garden that we were planting there, you Empress. So take this time. I love that, because Venus, rules over Taurus as well. Be thinking about this Gemini. In what ways do you want to grow, feel more abundant? What would make you happy? And then pursue those things. Go with gusto and go with, because then I find when we finally start resonating with what our heart really desires, then the roadblocks become easier to clear. The energy starts really revving up. The epiphanies come. The manifestation is on point. And then because it's so funny, the Nine of Coins is pre-Empress energy, and so here it is. We're working on it right now, but see, the finish line is in sight there, Gemini, and it's just remembering that, okay? Don't let this deep dive, deter you or think that this is trying to, trying to get you feeling some kind of way. No, this is trying to get you feeling at your best, feeling at your brightest, and I am with it. Or dope. That's sick, and that's perfect, because let's get some tea. And then let's talk about Capricorn, because Pluto's been retrograde for a little while, and we'll be retrograding into Capricorn on the 11th of June, right when, which is actually really fantastic considering that Mercury is going to be entering on the same time. So you see how the energies are lining up for you, how your ruler's setting you up there, Gemini, for success? But Pluto will be entering Capricorn on the 11th of June and will be there through the 10th of October. And this asks us, what would it take for you to feel like an empress? What would it take for you to feel independent and free to do what you want based on what you've earned, based on what you've achieved in life? Page of Coins, what you've manifested and created. And are there any patterns that you need to change? Do you see a common theme? This is why I was talking about even like journaling and things. That's a great way to get some eyes on the stuff. Even how this Ace of Wands has, I'm trying to manifest abundance for you, Gemini. But see, even how this Ace of Wands is, like, we've got a paintbrush here, writing this stuff down. Do we notice any patterns? Things that keep us further away from the sunlight, from that Empress energy. And if so, how do we change that stuff? And then what does success look like to you? What does you at your highest octave look like? And then let's go out there again and let's get a game plan. That's Pluto and Capricorn all day. And Pluto will be, this is fantastic, Gemini. But let's get some, we're good there? Okay, no, we're good. Let's get an oracle on this and get some more details. Love it. So you got the 7th card of Virgos here, which is the fine print card. With this fine print, this is a card of detail, look closer, inspection, research, be careful, in depth, pay attention, don't assume, thorough. Another deep dive. It's got deep dive in it. Deep dive, hidden information, double check, and read between the lines. And so Gemini, that's basically what Capricorn or Pluto and Capricorn is asking you to ask yourself these deep questions and be thorough. What would make you happy, and what does that look like? And be honest with yourself, and then figure out how we can go about incorporating that in your life, whether this is like a hobby that you want to work in. Maybe you want to learn another language. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe you want to do some scuba diving. Maybe you want to get in construction, fix all these all these rocks in the road. Maybe you want to be a librarian or whatever. Whatever you're trying to do, pay attention to that. Listen to those signs. Listen to listen to your intuition. Listen where it's where that gut is trying to lead you. And if you do find yourself second guessing yourself, meditate. Really just take a moment and get yourself in a calm space, and just make this a routine to really ask yourself, am I on track? Am I doing things that are raising my vibration? If so, how can we adjust? What do we need to do? But I also feel like, just like more so in a general type of sense, Gemini, just if we have any sort of like documentations that may get involved with over the year or over the month or anything along those lines, just making sure, just with how overactive, Mercury, the sun being in Gemini, Mercury being in Gemini, that can be. Just be mindful of not rushing through things, making sure that we're checking all the details and that we're comprehending stuff and making sure that that things make sense, okay? But let's get some tarot on this, get some details. Okay, Gemini, see what we have. Ooh. See what we have here. Okay. So you got the Six of Wands, a small little reversal storm, and that's cool. We got the Six of Wands, the Strength card, and the Seven of Cups, and they're all in reverse here. And don't panic, because these are the questions that we're asking ourselves, What do you wish for? You see how Aladdin here is looking at all these lamps? You can manifest whatever it is that you want, Gemini. Where are you just trying to find security at? Because if you feel in this place of like that you don't have options, if we operate from a place of lack, then that's what's going to happen, is we're going to feel restricted and we're not going to see the potential, the victories that are going to come through for us. But with the Six of Wands being in reverse, it's realizing that when we're working towards, I actually just told Cancer this on my other channel. When we're working towards Empress goals, it's going to take some Empress work. But again, you're going to be shining like a diamond. And the Six of Wands is saying that, to remember that, yes, victory looks nice, but sometimes we can get so caught up in the victory that we can forget that, yeah, we got to bring it sometimes. It's going to ask strength of us. There are going to be some times where we may be low energy. We might be kind of stuck in our head. We might need to take a break, but you're going to be a winner at the end of this, Gemini. And I love this too. Look how you're syncing up here, because you got the sun and you got Leo here. And the sun rules Leo. And so this also, I feel like too, make sure that we are being mindful of our energy, because Leo can be a very generous sign, very abundant, just being mindful with where we're expressing our energies, and really learn about what it is that you really desire, Gemini, that what you wish to manifest, and what does this big win look like for you? How do we get you feeling more confident on this journey here, and get you more confident manifesting and really living in your truest light and really shining like the invincible spiritual force that you are, Gemini? I like that. That was sick. Okay, and you know what? Ourselves saying we're switching. We'll save the best for last. But let's talk about, since you got all this Leo energy here, let's talk about Leo. Because you got Mars that's going to be entering Leo the day before that the sun enters on the 20th of June, and will be there through the 10th of July. And with this energy, this really encourages us to recognize the positive moments in our lives and create more memories. Because, the Six of Cups can also be a card of, when we get in a place of like nostalgia, kind of get stuck in the past, think about the good old days. That's not what those memories are for. They're meant to inspire you to create new memories, and that's what Mars in Leo wants you to. Do things like make moments for like happiness, excitement, and just play, Gemini. Go out there and just have some fun, and whatever that looks like for you. And also, this is an opportunity, like we're saying, to follow your heart. What would raise your vibration through the roof? What would help you to channel this Empress energy and just feeling, just manifesting like a boss. And also, this is going to be an energy, because Leo is very creative energy. And I mean, look at you. You're creative as well, Gemini. This is a great time to tap into those skills, whatever that looks like. Maybe we do dance, whatever. But, work with this energy. And the nice, lovely little thing about this energy as well, Gemini, is that depending on where your Gemini placements are at, Mars is going to be forming a sextile with your sign, which is a 60-degree aspect to your natal planet. And this, after a trine, is a very fortunate energy. It's a very easy flow, collaborative energy. But the thing is, it's not very dynamic. It's kind of a passive energy. It's something where you got to put in a little work to get this thing. Like, for example, I had a friend offer me an opportunity. Nothing, nothing too crazy. And I just like, I had initially brushed it off at first, I said, oh, I don't have the skills for it, blah, 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 whatever. But when I thought about it later, I was like, wait a minute, this is an opportunity for me to learn said skills, refine those skills, and then actually I need them for these, for something else that I'm doing. So it was just like a win. It was solving so many issues. And I was just like, wait a minute. It's like, and luckily I knew the person, so it's like the opportunity was still there. But it's like, that's what a sextile situation may be. So pay attention to those type of stuff. Anything to do any type of play, creativity, jump on that, Gemini. Absolutely. But let's get an oracle on this. Gemini, are you feeling abundant? Because you got the first card of Virgos here, which is the mother lode. I'm with it. And this is a card of prosperity, jackpot, success, good fortune, having plenty, sextile energy, money maker, sudden wealth, the real deal on easy street, accomplishment, advantage, fortune, and the prime source. Because Gemini, you are the prime source of all this abundance. You see how we took these roadblocks? We did a couple deep dives here. We learned about ourselves, and now look at that, it's raining. The Empress is making it rain. It's abundance all over the place, and that's what we need to focus on, Gemini. That's how you Nine of Coins. Doing things that make you feel abundant, we're making that a practice, Nine of Coins and like Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is like feeling that energy, really basking in like doing loving, feeling those loving energies, and the Nine of Coins is doing those energies, so whatever we feel makes us feel good, how do we manifest that into our world here? That's what this is. Because I'll tell you what, Virgo energy, they're the types that, they can really just create abundance out of nowhere. It's actually really impressive when they really focus in, and you can accomplish so much. And the fact that you two share a ruler, Gemini, don't sleep on your skills either. You both are intelligent. So work with that. Realize that you can, once we figure out this flow here, get this energy, because the Strength card, usually there's like a continuous, even in the Magician, there's an infinity sign that's usually above their heads. And it's like when we can really figure out how to make these energies work for us, that we're getting that reciprocity, Six of Coins, then man, we've hit the mother lode. And this can even be too, Gemini, just to make sure that we're just taking moments to appreciate the things that we have. Practice gratitude, for whatever abundance that we have in our lives, our family, our friends, good conversations, whatever that's looking like, because this really is an abundant universe that we're living in, and that there are opportunities aplenty. And it's just realizing that I feel like we've come to a place where it's like we were so fueled by like external things to give us validation and stuff, when really it's like when we realize that it's none of that stuff would be possible without this creative force that you have, Gemini. It really does raise your vibration through the roof, and it brings a new perspective, it raises your confidence, all of this. So let's get some tarot on this. All right, I like that. Ha, there you are, Gemini. One of your cards. You got the Two of Wands in reverse here, and then you got the King of Swords in reverse. And so, Gemini, this really is about, the Two of Wands is about a decision. It's like, where do we want to channel this Ace of Wands? Because the Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, these cards are just like the seeds here. It's just how we nurture them is what is going to determine what this mother lode is looking like. And so this is asking you, where do you want to channel your energies? Is where you've been channeling it? Has it been raising your vibration? Has it been all those things we've been asking ourselves? And if not, what are some ways that we can alleviate that? You know, what are some things that we can learn about ourselves and start making a part of our practice? Because the King of Swords, he's a card of wisdom, and in order to get wisdom, we have to put what we learn into practice. You know, the things that we learn from these deep dives and self-examinations and reflective cycles. What ways can we grow and to not, or try not to get caught up in your head about this, you know, to not get to where we're frustrated or anything along those lines. Because it's again, because this is almost like very kind of Ten of Pentacles types of vibe when we're thinking about, or kind of Ten of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune type of energy when we're thinking about like that abundance and prosperity and things. What would that look like? You know, those are some big questions, and don't try not to put a lot of pressure on yourself. We're going to figure, that's the point of the journey, to figure out the mother lode. We may never get Ten of Pentacles fully, but bet you we're going to get close, and we're going to enjoy it along the way, Gemini, because you're going to be leveling up and raising your vibration and everyone else's vibration to the roof. Because when we're doing stuff that we love, then it inspires others to be just as prosperous, and then we get the spread and the fortune around. Because the lovely thing about this universe is that there's enough abundance here for everybody. So, all right. Let's see what else we got. Well, I love it. Wheel of Fortune. Come on, Gemini. Look at that. Ooh, got a little chills there. You know, you're at, this is a state where if you've been feeling stuck in a cycle, how do we get out of that? You know, what does that look like? Because here's the thing, I love this Wheel of Fortune, because when you think about like spiders, all spiders do is, well, I'm assuming this is what they love, but all they do is build this beautiful web, you know, construct this thing, and then they wait, and then abundance comes to them. You know, everything that they could ever need for their journey is going to be supplied for them. And even when you come across a more difficult cycle where maybe a storm comes through and it messes up your web, it kind of throws things out of whack. We got to work on our confidence, get our security back. All we do is assess the situation, acknowledge it for what it is, and then figure out how we can channel this energy constructively. You know, figure out what can we do to get this wheel back in our favor, what lessons we're trying to come from this cycle, so that we can get to this mother lode, sun. Because I mean, Gemini, Jupiter and Venus showing up in a reading. I mean, these two you got the great benefactor and the small benefactor here. You talk about like and the sun. I mean, come on. This can be a very abundant, in the mother lode, Gemini, you are in a very abundant state right now. So really think about, focus on that. Steep yourself in that energy, and man, watch how your world is just going to that's just what's going to permeate for the duration of this journey. So even when you find, and guess what? Even when you find yourself in hard situations, it's your perspective is going to change. If anything, you're going to embrace challenges because you see what abundance comes from them. So I'm with it. Oh, more? Okay. I just kind of assumed we were done. Because I mean, what more else do you need? All right, speaking of Venus, let's talk about the last one, Venus and Cancer. Because I'll tell you what, I've been loving Venus in Cancer. Venus entered Cancer on the 7th of May and will be there through the 5th of June. And with Venus and Cancer, Venus has a very special connection with Cancer. You know, the moon is exalted in Taurus, one of the signs that Venus is rules. She rules Venus. She rules Venus. She rules herself, and Taurus and Libra. But yeah, they have a strong connection with Cancer. So the Empress feels really good right now. She's in a very nurturing energy, and this really motivates us, one, to focus on more secure relationships, whether that be maybe with what abundance looks like for us, you know, or with people, with certain situations. You know, it's evaluating those those energies and seeing how they make us feel. Because, you know, Cancerian energy, I don't know if I mentioned my sun signs in Cancer, because Cancerian energy, we're guided by our feelings. You know, they can say, you know, the stigma can be, yes, we're, you know, emotional, sensitive sign, but really we're just sensitive to the energies. And you will be too, Gemini. Observe this stuff here. Be paying attention to that and thinking about what ways we can secure some of these situations where where things feel precarious. How do we adjust that stuff? But this can also be a great cycle as well if we're in real estate, or if we're thinking about, you know, maybe moving or things along those lines, because Cancer is, you know, they live in the 4th house, which deals with the home. You know, great time for maybe thinking about real estate as well. You know, as I'm not a real estate expert, so definitely hit up someone who's a little more knowledgeable in that realm. But then also, this is a great time too, because Venus is a planet of beauty and aesthetics. You know, she's not just about being beautiful, she's about extending that beauty outside of herself as well. She wants to, not, you know, everyone to enjoy in that as well. This is a great time for doing any sort of like home decor. Maybe if there's a room that's you've been wanting to paint for a while, or maybe you've been wanting to clean the gutters or do something with the roof, work in the garden, you know, whatever this is. Venus in Cancer is lovely for that. I was just working out in the garden with my stepdad just this past weekend. I'll tell you, Venus in Cancer was hard at work. It's lovely energy, so really work with this, Gemini. It's fantastic. But let's see if I can get this card up here. Okay, so is that the one? Let's see what we got here. Let's get an oracle card. Alrighty, Gemini, last little bit here. And you for the win. You got the 4th card of Gemini's here. Oh, how beautiful, Gemini. I just got chills again. This is the hammock card. And with this card, Gemini, you'll see why in a second. This is a card of rest, relax, time off, pause, suspend, sleep, supported, meditate, inactive, recovery, find relief, vacation, waiting, suspended between two things, in limbo, in self-actualization. And I feel like that's what this reading has been about, Gemini. It's like, how do you become a diamond? You know, again, another 4 here. How do we find, so here, 4 on a planet that's, you know, or on a sign that lives in the 4th house. How do we find security, one, but also just Venus in Cancer is very, just like I was talking about, this very nurturing energy, and all, like the Empress can also be like my self-care card. So if we've been noticing a lot of roadblocks, maybe we've been feeling kind of anxious, you know, been a lot on our minds, make sure we're carving out moments to relax, and make sure that we're getting some good sleep. If if meditation is your thing, you know, carving out maybe some moments for some meditation. But go on a vacation, Gemini. And I don't even feel like this doesn't have to be where you need to actually go anywhere. You could even just stay at home, you know, staycation, you know, do all this introspective work at home. Just find yourself a calm place, a quiet, set up a hammock and just chill. Think about how do we want to manifest this abundance, and because we really are, especially I feel like with Jupiter being in Jupiter in Taurus. With Jupiter being in Taurus, this is a time to really kind of slow down. You know, even this is not a real. This is more of an intuitive read for the Hierophant. But when you think about Taurus energy, just with it being in reverse. You know, Taurus is a very patient sign, and we don't want to rush this growth, Gemini. We want to appreciate all of the experiences, the good times, the bad times, because that's how what Cancer does. That's what shapes these. You know, Cancer is all about experiential wisdom, and when you take this moment, Gemini, because this is a very, very abundant and wise time for you. Here, I even got, look at that. You're so abundant, you woke up someone else from their nap. I love it. What's up, D? But let's get some tarot on this, Gemini. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'll take the cat as confirmation, because you know cats are big on self-care too. I'm with it. Oh, and there's the High Priestess. What's good, girl? Cancer's ruler. What? And with the High Priestess, I feel like this is really making sure that, because now look at this, Gemini. Now we got as far as like divine counterparts here, the Hierophant and the High Priestess. Those are very, very intuitive. And was I talking about that? The moon being exalted in Taurus. Things are syncing up for you here, Gemini. It may not make sense at the moment, but trust your intuition. Listen to your instincts and know that they are leading you down the right path. You know, if they're saying time to rest, let's rest. If it's saying time to let's start moving towards this way. Let's really tune in and pay attention during these next, these next cycles here, because the moon is very much, she's a busy luminary. She travels all the zodiac every 27-ish days or so. And it can be a lot. And we just want to make sure that we're taking time to reflect on these experiences with all the energies that can go down and things that happen. And yeah, just really listen to that internal system, because it's really trying to lead you to this mother lode, this abundance here. All right, Gemini, last card here. I dig it. You got the Seven of Wands in reverse here. And let's switch back over. Because here's the thing, with the Seven of Wands, I feel like this can be a card of criticism, but I don't feel that this is necessarily like criticism that you would get from others, because you don't really have a lot of people here. I feel like this is more about kind of like self-criticism, especially I feel like when we get to places of like rest and things. Because listen, I'm guilty of it too. There are some times where it's like we try to force ourselves to relax, but then we're still thinking about all the things that we need to do, and it's hard to get to like that guilt-free type of rest and relaxation. And that's what I really feel like this hammock is saying. It's okay to pause for a moment. We don't have to be on all the time. Sometimes we need a break to step back and just kind of check in and see what's been going down. We take in so many energies around so many people, communicating with things, thinking about all this stuff. It's a lot, Gemini, and we got to take moments to process all of this stuff, to really think about, what's next. How can we get into, how can we get to that next level here? Because this is, the Seven of Wands is Saturn in Leo. And so another thing too, again, what are some areas that we feel that we're feeling restricted in, that are keeping us from expressing our creativity? And because Venus in Cancer, that's a very creative energy as well, because like I was talking about with what the Empress is about, art and stuff. So, and that's another thing too. If we have like ideas and things and we're worried if we're not going to be abundant, or if people are going to criticize this stuff or anything along those lines, don't worry about that, Gemini. It's, we can worry. If we worry about failing and if that keeps us from starting, then we won't fail because we won't start, Get it out there and we'll just make adjustments as you go. That's what the Queen of Wands would do. She's not the type we're getting to the mother lode. That's without question. And now how we got to pivot to get there, that's a whole different thing. But one thing is you're ruled by the magician. I mean, you're a magician, Gemini. Manifest your dreams and don't think for a second that you can't. Trust your intuition, High Priestess. Be confident, Strength card, and be abundant. Jupiter, Wheel of Fortune, Empress, Sun. This to me, you're on your way to a big win here, so I'm with it. And I like how the High Priestess is look at that. She's even taking a little moment to kick back and read there, learn a little bit about herself there. So yeah, something to think about, but I think I'll leave that there. And so if something resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, Gemini. help get this abundance circulating, and share this. If maybe someone who's going through something, maybe having, been maybe working a little too hard, maybe not shining bright like a diamond. Because here's the thing, you can't, the sun needs to shine, Gemini. If you got some stuff out there, some ideas, let that stuff shine. But tell you and that Empress, if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscription, hit that bell button. You get notified around these videos each week. And then talking about all this meditation, introspection stuff, what better app? I've been on this meditation app, Insight Timer, for years. And I created a group on there called Zodiacs Raising the Vibration. And it's just a group to drop like positive affirmations, encouraging messages, just talk about your journey of abundance and what roadblocks that you came through and how you persevered and, you know, how you really brought it and how you're shining bright and all of that, Gemini. And yeah, as a group, I was like, what else? And then as the group grows, definitely, the Empress and I have been talking about, this is manifesting abundance at its finest. So thanks for that, Gemini. But that's you know, something that we planned. You can do different meditations in that group. So come on, let's get some people over there so we can start meditating together. And you know, if you're already on the app and just happen to friend me and send me a thanks for meditating with me, that would just raise my vibration regardless. And then oh, and all that information is in the description box. And then, lastly, got a hot little ticket here with the pulling out Cancer's ruler, the moon. Not that you need one. But if you have any Cancer placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, considering how she, you know, even possibly Jupiter, come on over to my other channel, The Sheridan Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. We absolutely discuss lunar shenanigans. It's a good old time. And all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here so I can get you out of here. Didn't I say I was trying to manifest your Ace of Coins? Here it is. And this is what I'm talking about, Gemini. The energy is potent right now. We are entering a different type of stage here. And this is where your you see how quick that was? Your manifestation skills are. Mercury's letting you know the energy is hot. So if you're trying to manifest stuff, absolutely. And just remember though, these like I was saying, these aces, we have to nurture this stuff. These aren't things that just are gonna grow. You know, if we ignore our plants, they end up withering away. You know, and here's the thing too. It's not that you're gonna miss out on abundance. You know, I feel like we always get what is meant for us. It's maybe how it's presented when we just choose to take that direction. Maybe a little different than when the energies were real ripe. You may have to put in a little bit of more work, might be a few more roadblocks, but Ace of Coins, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords, that's all you all day, you know. But let me see what your oracle card is. Absolutely. Gemini, what's your vision? You got the vision card here. What do you see? What are you seeing in your mind? What does abundance look like for you? Like I was telling you, when Pluto moves into Aquarius next year, this is really the air signs are gonna shine. You know, this is really a time for you to be innovative, to share your dreams, to really get these juices cooking. You know, whatever it is that you want to manifest and make it happen. Ask yourself these questions, you know, get inspired, you know, whatever that looks like, and then just start cooking up. But don't stress yourself out. You remember, we got to make sure we're working smart and we're playing smart. Make sure to find that balance, Gemini, that infinity sign. So work with these energies. I love it. So I'm going to get you out of here and get you reflecting. So you stay safe out there, Empress. I love that. We got Empress dream, Wheel of Fortune dreams, Jupiter dreams. I'm with it. And Gemini, raise your vibration through the roof, because that's what this is all about here. This is because you are, for you, this can potentially be a very abundant birthday season, just abundant solar return for you. Make the most of it. Let's not stop at a month. Let's extend this for the year, and let's check back in for your next solar return and tell me how abundant you're feeling. And I will catch you on the next one. Actually, here in a couple days.